I manifested the house that I'm living in right now, just like that, in 2 weeks. And I'm gonna show you how I did it right now. I'm Suhaiti, welcome to your Self-Love Advocate, where I talk about self-love, self-concept, law of assumption, and just manifestation, and so we can live our best lives. As I said in the intro, I wanna share how I manifested this home. So I have a little story to tell you all. So in 2022, I made the decision that I wanted to move from the apartment that I lived in, which was lovely and I loved. I actually manifested that apartment, to a neighboring town, and I wanted to live in a house. I didn't actively affirm in 2022 to live in the house that I'm now living in now. Like, I didn't actively affirm for it. But I made the decision that I really wanted to live in a house. I have a son and I wanted a backyard and I wanted more space, and I just envisioned and thought of like, where would I want to live, right? And how do I want to live my life? And I love hosting, and I wanted a place that was big enough to host with a dining room. So that decision was made around summer 2022. And then I don't affirm for it, but I'm like, yeah, I really want it. Maybe it would be amazing for this to happen right before my son goes into second grade, September 2023. So again, I let it go. I'm not really thinking about this, affirming for this, repetition. I'm not doing that yet. What happens in my 3D, in my physical reality, is that circumstances start playing out in the home that I live in. A lot of things start breaking. There were light bulbs that kept burning out. My landlord at the time, who lived on the bottom floor of the house, it was a 2-family house. She and her husband, got into a crazy fight and started getting a divorce. I was a little worried that like the house would be put up for sale. I mean, when I tell you like my place was breaking down, it was like every week I was like, now this isn't working. My stove top stopped working. And then I didn't have my landlord's husband to kind of say, hey, can you do this? And it would take really long because she didn't have help to have those things be fixed. Then summer came, like May is summer it was spring, but like it gets hot in New York around May. And I started realizing like all these flies were in my apartment. Like it's kind of gross. I was killing like 8 to 9 flies a day. That never happened before. And I work from home, and I was so bothered, swatting flies, frustrated, buying all this fly traps. It was insane. And it was like that for like and I was affirming, today there will be no flies. Today there will be no flies. Today I have a fly-free home. Try to say that. And eventually they dissipated, but again, I was really focused on my 3D and the flies, and when one came out, like, finally they dissipated. But it was another circumstance. Then my landlord started digging up in the front yard, and like there was a pile of dirt sitting there for months. And it was disgusting, and cats from the neighborhood would go and poop on it. Like, when I tell you that my lovely, beautiful home that I loved, and that's why I believe I did not affirm for it for a really long time, because I really did love my home, and I loved where I live, and I loved my neighborhood, and I loved everything about where I lived. But I had made the decision that I wanted to live in a house by September 2023 when my son was going to second grade. I made the decision. And even though I wasn't affirming, once you decide you want something, the universe, whatever you want to call it, everything begins to unfold, and things start happening in your physical reality to push you to affirm or go after that desire, okay? Then something else happened that was like super triggering, and I'm not gonna get into it because it has to do with custody. And I made the choice right there. I have to move. And this thing happened in July. Okay? It happened in July. And I said, oh my goodness, I have to move. And I want to move before he starts school in September. So I'm gonna have to find a place. and move in August 1st, August 15th, the latest. My lease was up August 15th. So what did I do? I said, you know what? I'm just gonna start affirming. I am moving into a new place in the town, I said, in August. I'm moving into the town. Like, I have a house, like I live in a house, and I moved there August 1st. And August 1st, I'm moving. And then I started telling everyone in my life, like, oh, I have to move. I'm moving August 1st. And they would ask me, do you have a place? I'm like, no, but I'm moving August 1st. Well, you don't have a place. No, but I'm moving August 1st. So not only did I scripted it, and I constantly repeated it to myself, right? Repetition, repetition, repetition. Sammy Ingram says it is the truth, okay? Repeat your affirmations. Whatever you want, just repeat it. But I was also telling people in my physical reality, yeah, no, this is what I'm doing and it's going to happen. And you don't have to affirm in the future tense. If I said it's going to happen, I am moving August 1st. I wasn't pretending it was August 1st and I was already there, right? Like, it was July. Like, no, I didn't do that. But I kept telling people, no. And then people were like, well, how are you going to move if you don't have a place? I told my landlord I'm moving on August 1st. And I'm not saying to do this if you don't feel comfortable. But these are the things that I did in my physical reality because I was so sure that I was moving August 1st. I was affirming, and you don't have to believe your affirmations, but I was just like, it doesn't matter what my physical reality is showing me, that I don't have a place yet, that I haven't even looked up to see what's available. I'm moving August 1st. I'm moving into a house August 1st because I refuse to move into another apartment. Fast forward a week later, and I'm on, Realtor looking for things. I'm talking to a realtor to help me find a place. And this one place shows up. I send it to her. I want to see this place. It's in the town I need. It's exactly what I needed. It was a house. So I go 2 weeks shy of August 1st and I say, and I like it. Let's do it. It was good and it was a nice place. There were some things that I didn't love, right? Because you have to be 100% sure that what you want, like how it's presented to you, is exactly what you want. So it was in the town I wanted. It was a house, but I didn't like the proximity, like the location in the town. I just didn't like the location. Something about it, I kept coming back to it. I don't like that it's so close to this main street where there's a lot of cars. It's really busy. I can't even go on my walks because it's such a busy road that's on the corner of, I kind of started thinking am I gonna be comfortable having my son play outside with all these cars zooming by? It's a 40 miles per hour road, but people usually go 50, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. So then I get the lease, and then the landlord has the most craziest, impossible, I had never seen a lease so crazy in terms of her rules. I'm not even gonna get into it because it doesn't matter, but it was this is illegal to ask a tenant to follow these rules, right? So I tell my realtor, no, I'm not taking it. Mind you, I have a week and a half to move at this point. I'm not taking it. So people are like, are you gonna move in that place? No, I turned down the lease because of X, Y, and Z, but I'm still moving August 1st. And they're like, but where? I'm moving August 1st. By this point, I already started packing. I was packing. Again, you don't have to do this. I was so sure that I was moving, that I was gonna find my perfect home, that I started packing, and I turned down a really nice house. And the thing is that there's not a lot of properties on the market for rent where I live. Most people are homeowners. And if there are properties, they're basement apartments and houses or complexes, and I refuse to live in an apartment complex. I said, I'm not living in an apartment complex, and I'm not living in a basement. I'm living in a house. That's where I'm moving to August 1st. So I go back to look at listings. I see, my realtor sending me stuff. I see one. I see a listing that I had seen, that I had favored the same time I saw the house where the landlord was asking for some impossible, crazy things in terms of rules. But it was over the price that I wanted. So when I looked at it, I started and I was like, you know what? If it were this price, and I said the exact number out loud, then I would take it, and that would be mine. I left it there, saw the house, turned down the lease. A couple of days later, a week and a half to August 1st, I go back to the listings and I see that the house that I said, if it was that much, that would be it. They dropped it to the exact price that I wanted. Again, this whole entire time, I'm like, I'm moving August 1st, I'm moving August 1st, I'm moving to a house August 1st. I wasn't stressed. I was not reacting to the fact that time was ticking, because you can't react to time. You can't react to the 3D. You can't question it. You just have to stay faithful to your desire when you're manifesting, okay? When to see the house. This is where I live right now. In love with it. In love. Perfect location, 4 minutes from my son's school. Literally, I remember saying, I want a house that everything is in close proximity, where there's a lot of kids that play. I want a house close to a cul-de-sac. Literally, there's 2 cul-de-sacs right here, because I was very clear in my mind of the type of house that I wanted. I wanted a house where there were kids my son's age, because in the last place I lived in, the kids were in high school. Kids all over are his age. He has classmates that live close by. I wanted a house that was close proximity to supermarkets. I have my 3 supermarkets close by, shopping centers, literally. I'm closer to things now than I was in my old place, and I was close to everything. I even said I really want to be close to a main street to go drinking and have bars, and I live like 4 minutes from a main street that has even more restaurants and bars and out than where I lived before. So this was like the perfect house, perfect location in the perfect town, okay? Because I needed it to be in this town that I live in for my son's school. So I see the house, I love it. I tell my realtor, I want, this is mine. I'm moving here. This is where I'm living, August 1st. She gets all the information. There's a lot of 3D delays. My realtor, who's not in law of assumption, is a little worried. You know, you send the lease signs and they're taking a long time, and I just don't want you to like have to move and think that you're good when you're not. I'm like, don't worry, that's where I live, that's my house. So what I did while things were being sorted out, like in terms of the financials and like the paperwork, and they had realtors, so there was like a lot of back and forth, and the people that my realtor were working with, they weren't very responsive. So my realtor was really frustrated with them. But I was as cool as a cucumber. I live on, so for 3 days straight, I affirmed maybe like 10,000 times. If you do the 10K challenge, 10,000 affirmations, it took me like 3 days to do 10,000 affirmations, right? Because I counted it on a counter app. I affirmed, I live on my address. I live on, and I would say my address. I live on the, I'm so happy I live on. I'm so happy I live on. I love my house on, right? And I would insert my address. By the 3rd day, I had the lease. They gave me a day to give the deposit. Everything happened like this. And on August 1st, I got movers, and I was moved in here by 11 o'clock in the morning. Just like that. So I manifested moving, and moving is crazy. A 2-bedroom apartment into a house where I was not intending to move, but 3D circumstances forced me to actually go after the desire that I intended 2022, and said, you've been wanting this. What are you waiting for? You're powerful. You can have what you want. And I was so comfortable where I lived. I said, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But I'm like, but this is not where you want to be. And so guess what? The 3D started throwing things at me so that I could go after what I actually want. So like, if you're unhappy at a job, if you're unhappy in a home, if you're unhappy in a relationship, like, you have the power to change that if you decide, I want it to be better. I want a better job. I want a better house. I want my man, my girl, my person to treat me better, or just another person. You want another person altogether. If you decide it, you can have it, but you have to affirm. And if you decide it and you don't affirm, your 3D circumstances, your life is gonna feel like it's pushing you to want to go after the thing that you decided that you wanted, because that's what happened to me. So moral of the story is, if you have a desire to move somewhere, to have a better job, to have a better relationship, whatever it is, you can have it. Circumstances do not matter. When I tell you that I manifested and moved into a home in 3 weeks, in 3 weeks, when inventory to rent is literally, people were like, how are you gonna find a house to rent in this town when like everything is home ownership where I live, and in this town specifically? Because I'm a master manifester and I get everything I want. I just have to affirm. All I need is repetition, and to not back down and freak out when things look like they're not working out. And I'm also very confident as a person, self-concept, but I also set clear boundaries with people in my life that if they are doubting me and my desires and doubting what I want, I put the kibosh on it. I don't cut them off, but I say, if you don't support this and the way I'm doing this, then don't ask me about it. And when I'm there, then I'm gonna tell you it happened. That's how you deal with people who wanna doubt you, okay? So let me know in comments if this inspired you, and if you want more of this content. I've manifested many things, so I just want to share this. I'm not coaching or doing anything. I just really believe in mindset shifting. That's what your self-love advocate is all about. That's what I'm all about. So I just really want to kind of share my success stories with things that I've manifested in my life in impossible, what it seemed to be like impossible circumstances. And I got it done anyway, okay? So if I could do it, you could do it. Thank you so much for joining me. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you soon.